But I want to shift gears a little bit and just talk about the campaign as a whole and the direction that it's going and the extent to which progressives and people on the left and Democrats, the infighting, which is expected in every election season. But I want to get you guys' opinion. Not only the people in the Hangout, the Progressive Army, but those of you who are listening, our phone lines are open, 857-600-0518. But I want to get your opinion. Do you think we are going to be able to unify behind either candidate, Sanders or Hillary? And when I say we, I don't necessarily mean you. I mean just the majority of people on the left. Do you think that after this campaign season, the direction that we're going right now, do you really think that people will be able to unify behind one of these candidates? Let's see. I see a couple of people in the room. Let me go with David. David, are you still on deck? Is your microphone on? And can you?
I'm here.
What do you think? Do you think we can unify?
Unify the different demographics and groups?
Yeah. Do you think after the primary is over, do you think we will be able to combine and rally behind a single candidate? Because it seems to me like the methodology of the campaign, particularly the Clinton campaign, has been so divisive that I'm not sure that there can actually be unity. And I want to get you guys' opinion. You go first, David.
I agree. I can. I definitely see where you're coming from, and I think there's validity to it. It's going to be difficult, I think, no matter who wins. The Clinton campaign, especially through its surrogates, and even more so through supporters not necessarily officially with the campaign, have essentially called bluff and are daring Bernie supporters, especially those saying Bernie or bust, or those that have leaned in the Bernie or bust direction. They're daring them. Don't vote. What are you going to do? You're not going to vote. You're going to help. You're going to help the other side. And if that's almost goes against their argument of Unite Blue, which most of them, in my experience, use and try to go under that banner. If you want unity, if you want Unite Blue, I recently had a conversation with someone that actually was responding to one of your tweets, and they were saying, Bernie or bust doesn't belong under the Unite Blue banner. That's an opinion, and everyone's entitled, but if you want to win, which everyone, especially under the Hillary camp, that's what they're in this for, is to win, it seems. And obviously we want to also, but their focus is who can win. You need votes. That's it at the end of the day. You need the votes. And to dare not to vote for your candidate or to call the bluff,
right,
to me is just completely wrong-headed and does solidify that divide.
Right. It pushes, like, if you challenge someone, then the natural human reaction is to, okay, I'll take you up on that offer, right?
Absolutely.
You can't force us. You can't force a vote on either direction, right? And I think that's something that, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because of particularly the Latino vote and the minority vote, the African American vote, the games that are being played against Bernie Sanders. Are types of games that make people want to walk away and not participate, and it's becoming difficult to even think about being able to unify a party after it's been so divided by this type of swift voting and this type of rhetoric. And so I'm just curious. Does anyone else have any input? What do you think? Do you think we'll be able to unify and beat back? Because as much as people, let me say this. I was talking to a colleague yesterday, and she was saying that she's fighting so hard for someone like Bernie Sanders because she just can't fathom Hillary Clinton getting in. And then she followed up with this. She said, however, if Hillary Clinton got the nomination and we had to compare who is really behind the scenes, who their donors are, who's really driving them, when you compare the lobbyists that are pushing the Republican agenda versus the lobbyists that are pushing Hillary Clinton's agenda, her opinion was you can't really compare, right? That they're just on a totally different wavelength. And so if they're going to try to, if we're going to fight back against our country going in the completely wrong direction, right? Hillary Clinton, status quo. Republicans, far right field. Bernie Sanders, the correct direction.
Hey, Ben, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I wasn't, but go ahead and cut me off. No, go ahead.
The only thing I would caution, it's not just the Clinton camp. It is also the Sanders camp, or the Sanders supporters. The divide is on both sides. But the other thing I would caution is, it's very easy to fall into a microcosm. It's very easy to lose track of all different of the bigger picture. And in 2008, it seems very clear, and things may be much more divided this time around. I would believe that, actually. But in 2008, you had the Pumas, you had the divide, because the Clinton-Obama feud was very, very, very deep, and people questioned whether that would close. And so I'd caution that what we see going on right now may or may not last.
Mm. Okay. Oh, that's it? You done?
That's it. I just wanted to add the 2 cents there, that it may be worse than it seems.
Or may not be as worse as we think, as bad as we think.
Correct.
So I agree. There's going to be a lot of conciliatory language come towards the end, all right? And we're just at the beginning, so we have a long way to go. Of course, they're going to do some conciliatory language to try to bring everyone together But there's a when you spit in someone's face, that's a different ball game. Like Bernie Sanders let's say this goes south for Bernie, feel the burn, and he doesn't make it. Bernie can only say so much to encourage his supporters to actually go underneath and join Hillary Clinton, right? Because they have their own minds, and if they feel slighted from this campaign, there's only so much that Sanders can say. And I'm going back to what I was listening to Chad say much earlier in the broadcast. He was like, people, when they come out of a race like this, they want to make sure that they haven't been slighted. They want to make sure that even if we lost, we want to lose fair and square, right? We want to make sure that there's no appearance of wrongdoing. We want to make sure that we weren't swift voted. We want to make sure that there was a fair fight. And I think any adult human can take a loss. It will hurt, but they can take a loss if there is a fair fight. But when there's the appearance of a fair fight, nobody, I don't care who they are, it's going to be very difficult for them to unify the party. And still, the only reason I'm mentioning this at this juncture is because these false narratives about the Latino vote and the false narratives about the African American vote and the swift voting of Bernie Sanders' civil rights past, that's the type of thing that makes even a person like me, who, full disclosure, I've never been Bernie or bust. Matter of fact, I'm not Bernie or bust right now. But when you see that type of behavior, it pushes you closer and closer and closer to the edge, where you're like, I don't know if I can be a part of this. But let's shift gears. I want to pull up some results.
I think if Bernie wins, it's going to be a little bit easier for us to go stronger into the general election than if Hillary wins. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Bernie person. I'm saying that because Bernie has swept up all the independents, myself included. I was an independent and went back and changed my voter registration so I could vote in the primaries, so I could vote for Bernie. And there are even Republicans who are looking at the Republican lineup and they're going, oh my God. And so they're going over to Bernie because they want someone who is out of the establishment, and Bernie is in a way, but they don't see anybody in the GOP lineup that they can stomach. And if Hillary wins, we're going to lose all those people.
Yeah.
Because then all those people are going to say, well, I don't see much difference. And I want to bring this up too, because I've seen a lot of this on Twitter. I've done a little research on my own. Can't tell you exactly how accurate it is, but a lot of as far as money in politics, which is what Bernie is running on, and what Hillary can't seem to get out of, is that a lot of the backers that back the Republicans are also backing Hillary. So what does that tell you about her? And I realize they're probably just hedging their bets, but like I heard it said one night on another program, it's like they're not throwing their money away. I think that's what Bernie said, actually. They're expecting to get something for that. So they're backing people in both parties to make sure that they've got a political in with a favorite issue that they've got.
Right. Right.
And so I think that Bernie would tend to pull in more people than Hillary. And there are those out there that think that Hillary's really running from things. Yeah. I'll call it baggage. and with these emails and she's got like 3 different investigations going on, and we have no way of knowing if any of those are going to result in an indictment of some sort. And I'm thinking, wow, what an awful thing to have happen to us in the middle of a primary, or not a primary, but a general election, is to have our candidate get indicted for something.
Right.
That's horrific, in my opinion.
Yeah, let me jump in there. I'm trying to find where that audio feed is from. Hang on. Hang on a second, folks. There it is. It is me. My fault. Yeah, to that point, you know, I'm curious about these polls, and I was trying to find the polls from the most recent Real Clear Politics polls. So now that I've said it, I remember exactly where it is. That shows how poorly Hillary Clinton performs up against every Republican candidate versus how well Bernie Sanders performs against every single Republican candidate. And the thing to me is that there is a disconnect that I don't think a lot of progressives, liberals, Democrats, whatever you want to call yourself, I don't think that they're calculating, or I think they feel that they can overcome by force. And that's what's reflective in the polls, is that you can't overcome the lack of enthusiasm by force. You're not going to be able to tell. And this goes both ways, but I think the problem really flows from the Hillary Clinton side. You're not going to be able to tell people to be good Democrats and just fall in line and cast your vote for Hillary Clinton. It doesn't work like that, not with this generation of voters. We had a young man on from Jackson, Mississippi, I think his last name was Moore, the other day, saying that, you know, the millennial voters see through this. And they're not interested in playing and kowtowing to the political system, but they can be inspired to vote for someone. And so this idea that the parties can just instruct us to be good Democrats and be so afraid of Republicans that you should go out and vote for Hillary anyway, even though you're not enthusiastic, or you perhaps don't even like her, or you may loathe her. And the polls, to me, I think that is embedded in the polls, because the way Bernie Sanders beats all of the Republicans, every single one of them, I think he ties with Marco Rubio at 44%. And then turn around and Hillary Clinton is only beating, I believe, Ted Cruz. Trump. She beats Trump. The only way she loses to all of them is if there is an enthusiasm gap between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, right? People fall off with Hillary Clinton, and they're just not as enthusiastic about her. That's problematic come the general election. If she manages to beat Bernie Sanders, which is a long way away from now, but we have to consider that you're not going to be able to force people to be enthusiastic about Hillary. They're not enthusiastic about her now, and they weren't enthusiastic about her in the summer. You can't turn around and think that people are going to just be good Democrats, and because most of us don't even identify with a party anymore, and just do what they're told and vote for Hillary Clinton. David, you're live. What's up?
Yeah, couple things. First of all, I believe from what I'm seeing, Anoa may be having a guest join us shortly.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to note that so that we can possibly expect it. I was going through the chat on YouTube, and a couple good points from the viewers. Starting with H.G. Osb, OSB, he said a little while back while we were discussing the divide in the party that within the divide, it's to their own peril. Hillary is not a strong general election candidate, as it is in spite of perpetuation of the popular myth that she is. She completely turns off Republicans and too many moderates and too many moderates / independents. Very good point. I do think that the perception that Hillary is the mainstream candidate that will win no matter what is wrongheaded, and it's spin, and unfortunately people believe it, but it is wrongheaded. Another one I saw regarding the Pumas, when I was mentioning that we shouldn't get caught up in the divide too much because we don't want to speak too soon, although we should be aware of it. Tetsubo Joe said that the Pumas were pretty worthless in 2008, and I think those sorts are such a small, angry center-right minority. They hurt the establishment a lot more than their votes can help any candidate.
Interesting.
And I think those two comments really speak volumes to the fact that sometimes we do have to look at the larger picture. It's not to say that I do think that the divide is more obvious this time around. I think people are just that much more sick and tired of things and angry and really just ready for a legitimate change that reflects the discontent. Yeah. So it definitely is there, and I think it's a lot more angrier, especially for those that didn't read between the lines with Obama in 2008. I think people are just that much more upset over things and willing to finally speak up.
Yeah, I agree. Was someone else trying to chime in?